What if I told you that the branches lying forgotten in your yard could be the key to creating the most magical garden you've ever seen? Today at Arkan Aesthetic Studio, we'll explore over 25 rustic DIY upcycle ideas, turning dry branches into fairy swings, garden arches, lantern poles, and even whimsical sculptures. Each idea is simple, creative, and designed to inspire you. In this video, you'll also find timestamps to skip straight to the projects you need. And if something sparks a question, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Most importantly, take these ideas, use what you already have, and reimagine your garden into a place of wonder. To you, I may just be another video on your screen. But behind these creations is a real story, a real dream, and a small family giving it their all. This isn't just content, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe keeps that dream alive. When you choose to subscribe, you're not only supporting this channel, you're helping hope grow, one click at a time. Thank you for choosing to be here. One, fairy archway made from painted dry branches with climbing roses. Imagine walking into your backyard and being welcomed by a magical fairy archway made entirely from dry branches you once thought were useless. This DIY project is as enchanting as it is simple. Begin by gathering sturdy branches with natural curves. These will create the whimsical frame. Secure them into the ground on each side of your pathway. Then tie the tops together with natural rope or twine. For extra strength, add cross branches at the middle, forming a sturdy arch. Now comes the fun part. Paint the branches with soft pastel shades such as sky blue, mint green, and pale pink. These colors instantly add a fairy tale charm. Once dry, train climbing roses or vines to weave through the branches. Over time, they will cover the frame with flowers, bringing seasonal magic to your yard. This archway not only frames the garden beautifully, but also creates a perfect photo spot. With every bloom, you'll be reminded of how simple recycling can transform into rustic garden elegance. Two, rustic twig pergola with colorful hanging lanterns. Turn ordinary branches into a rustic pergola that feels like a page from a fairy tale. Start by collecting thick, straight branches to serve as the main posts and beams. Secure them firmly into the ground at four corners to create the pergola frame. Then connect the tops with cross branches tied tightly with rope or wire for stability. To bring life to this rustic structure, weave thinner twigs across the roof, leaving gaps for sunlight to filter through. Next, hang colorful lanterns along the beams. These can be made from painted mason jars, recycled tin cans, or solar fairy lights placed inside small containers. The lanterns add a magical touch, glowing gently during the evenings while creating vibrant accents by day. Place the pergola over a seating area, garden path, or vegetable bed. Over time, you can let grapevines or climbing roses cover it, making it a living canopy. This rustic twig pergola is not just functional, but also a whimsical focal point that transforms your garden into a cozy outdoor retreat. Three, Dry branch fence woven with wildflowers and vines. Imagine replacing ordinary garden borders with a fence that feels alive, woven from dry branches, wildflowers, and climbing vines. To start, gather branches of similar length and thickness, strong enough to be placed upright in the ground as fence posts. Set them in a row along your pathway or planting bed, spacing them evenly for balance. Next, weave flexible twigs horizontally through the upright posts, creating a rustic lattice effect. Don't worry about perfection. Natural irregularity makes it even more charming. Once the frame is ready, plant fast-growing vines such as morning glories or sweet peas at the base. These will quickly climb and weave themselves into the branches. For an extra magical touch, tuck wildflower stems or small pots of seasonal blooms into the gaps of the fence. As the plants grow, the branches become a living wall that changes with the seasons. This DIY creation adds structure, protects delicate plants, and transforms your garden border into an enchanting scene straight from a storybook. Four, miniature fairy bridge crafted from twisted twigs. A fairy bridge can transform even the smallest corner of your backyard into a whimsical wonderland. Begin by collecting flexible twigs with natural bends. These will form the arches of the bridge. Position 2 sturdy twigs as the side rails, then attach smaller branches across them to create the steps. Secure everything tightly with twine or natural rope, ensuring stability while keeping the handmade look intact. To bring extra charm, paint the bridge in pastel shades such as lavender, sky blue, or sunshine yellow. Place it over a shallow stream, a dry riverbed of pebbles, or even across a flower bed to make it look like a magical crossing. Plant small ferns, moss, or creeping thyme around the base to soften the edges and give the bridge a fairy tale setting. This miniature bridge becomes more than just decor. It invites imagination, especially for children who love fairy gardens. It's proof that with just a few twigs, you can create a tiny world of magic and charm in your backyard. Five, dry branch vertical garden frame with hanging pots. A vertical garden frame made from dry branches is the perfect way to bring life to an empty wall or fence. To start, gather long, sturdy branches and arrange them in a rectangular frame. Tie the corners with strong rope or wire, and add cross branches horizontally for extra support. This creates a grid-like structure that is both rustic and sturdy. Once the frame is ready, attach small painted pots using hooks, rope hangers, or recycled metal holders. Fill these pots with herbs, trailing plants, or colorful summer flowers like petunias, marigolds, and pansies. For a whimsical touch, paint each pot in bright pastel colors, adding variety and personality to the display. Hang the frame against a garden wall, pergola, or along a pathway fence. Over time, the plants will spill over the edges, softening the branches and making the entire structure look like a living painting. This DIY not only maximizes small space, but also transforms bare walls into enchanting vertical gardens that delight the eye. Six, whimsical twig chandelier with mason jar fairy lights. twig chandelier may sound like a fairy tale dream, but it's one you can easily bring to life in your own backyard. Start by gathering a bundle of flexible twigs and arranging them into a circular frame, securing the intersections with natural rope or wire. From this frame, let smaller branches dangle down, creating an organic, rustic design that feels alive and magical. Next, prepare mason jars by filling them with small LED fairy lights. Suspend each jar from the twig frame with rope or wire, varying the lengths so they cascade at different heights. For an extra touch of charm, you can paint the twigs in soft pastel hues or add seasonal flowers tucked between the branches. Hang your chandelier from a pergola, sturdy tree branch, or even above a seating nook. As the evening arrives, the jars will glow warmly, turning your garden into an enchanting retreat. This DIY creation is a perfect example of how upcycled twigs and simple jars can bring unforgettable atmosphere to your outdoor space. Seven. Painted branch trellis supporting grapevines. A simple branch trellis can transform your backyard into a vineyard-inspired escape. Begin by collecting long, sturdy branches of similar thickness. Drive 2 strong branches into the ground as vertical posts, then connect them with horizontal cross branches lashed tightly using rope or garden wire. Continue adding diagonals or smaller twigs to create a rustic lattice for climbing plants. To bring a playful twist, paint the branches in soft pastel colors like mint green, lilac, or pale yellow. This not only brightens the trellis but also gives it a whimsical touch, making it stand out as a decorative feature. Plant grapevines or other climbers such as cucumbers, beans, or morning glories at the base. Over time, they will wind their way up, covering the frame with leaves and blossoms. As summer progresses, your trellis will come alive with fruits or flowers, turning the once simple branches into a lush, living artwork. This DIY blends function and beauty, adding vertical charm and seasonal harvest to your rustic garden. Eight. Branch-made rustic bird feeder with a tiny roof. A rustic bird feeder made from branches is more than just garden decor. It's a gift to nature itself. Begin by collecting sturdy twigs for the base and 4 posts. Secure them into a small square, then add cross branches to form the floor. Next, construct a simple roof by lashing branches together in a triangular frame, just like a tiny fairy house. Attach the roof to the top of the feeder, leaving the sides open so birds can easily perch and feed. For a whimsical touch, paint the roof or edges of the feeder in soft pastels, such as sky blue or sunshine yellow. Fill the tray with birdseed, and watch as finches, sparrows, and cardinals make it their favorite stop. Place the feeder near flowers or shrubs so the birds feel safe and welcome. This simple DIY not only recycles natural materials but also invites beautiful wildlife into your backyard. Each visit from a bird adds movement, sound, and joy, making your rustic feeder a living centerpiece of your summer garden. Nine. Twig spiral obelisk planter for cucumbers and beans. A spiral twig obelisk is both a functional trellis and a garden sculpture that brings vertical drama to your backyard. Begin by gathering long, flexible twigs that can bend slightly without breaking. Place 3 or 4 sturdy branches into the soil in a circular shape. Then bring their tops together and lash them tightly to form the obelisk's peak. Next, weave thinner twigs in a spiral pattern around the frame, spacing them evenly as you move upward. This spiral design creates natural pockets for climbing plants to grip. For a playful touch, paint some of the twigs in cheerful pastel colors, lavender, mint, or coral, to brighten the structure. Plant cucumbers, beans, or even flowering climbers like morning glories at the base. Within weeks, the vines will begin to climb, covering the spiral with lush greenery and fruit. Over time, your twig obelisk becomes a living tower, combining rustic art with edible rewards. It's a perfect way to upcycle natural materials into a magical yet practical garden centerpiece. Branch seating bench with artistic curved backrest. Turn a simple sitting spot into a work of art by crafting a rustic bench with a curved branch backrest. Start with thick, sturdy branches for the seat and legs, securing them tightly to ensure strength and stability. For the backrest, collect branches with natural curves and intertwine them, lashing them together with rope or wire. The organic arcs create a sculptural silhouette that feels both rustic and elegant. To make the bench stand out, paint the branches in cheerful pastel shades, soft pink, mint green, or pale yellow. The colors highlight the whimsical design while keeping the natural texture of the wood visible. Place the bench in a cozy garden corner, beneath a pergola, or overlooking a flower bed. This creation doesn't just provide a place to rest. It becomes a focal point for photographs, reading, or simply enjoying the garden. With each curve of the branches, the bench feels alive, blending artistry and function. It's the perfect DIY piece to invite comfort and magic into your summer garden. Rustic dry branch gazebo decorated with seasonal flowers. Imagine stepping into your backyard and finding a handcrafted gazebo that feels like it belongs in a fairy tale. Building one from dry branches is easier than you might think. Start by securing thick branches vertically into the ground, forming the gazebo's main posts. Then connect the tops with cross branches, lashing them together tightly to create the roof frame. Once the structure is stable, weave smaller twigs across the roof and sides to add texture. For a burst of seasonal beauty, decorate the gazebo with flower garlands. Roses, daisies, or marigolds work wonderfully in summer. You can even train climbing plants like grapevines or morning glories to cover the structure over time. To enhance its charm, paint sections of the branches in cheerful pastel shades, adding a whimsical contrast to the natural wood. Place a small bench or table inside, and you've created not only shade but also a magical retreat. This DIY gazebo is more than rustic decor. It's an enchanting gathering spot for family, friends, and quiet garden moments. Dry branch pond frame with cascading mini waterfall. Water features always bring life to a garden, and with just dry branches and stones, you can create a rustic pond with a cascading mini waterfall. Begin by outlining the pond shape with large stones or bricks. Once the basin is in place, frame the edges using thick dry branches laid horizontally, giving the pond a natural, handcrafted border. To make the waterfall, arrange smaller branches and stones into a tiered slope at one side of the pond. Guide the water to trickle down over the twigs, creating a soft, soothing sound. Secure everything with rope or hidden fasteners to ensure stability. For a magical finish, paint parts of the branches in soft pastel colors and plant moss, ferns, or creeping flowers around the edges. As the plants grow, they'll soften the lines and blend the feature into your garden. This rustic pond and waterfall not only attract birds and butterflies but also create a peaceful sanctuary. It's proof that simple recycled materials can turn into an enchanting garden centerpiece. (13) Fairy swing made from branches and colorful ropes. A fairy swing adds a magical and playful touch to any backyard, and the best part is, it's simple to make using just branches and rope. Start by finding two sturdy, straight branches for the swing seat. Secure them together side by side, then attach thinner cross branches to form a strong and balanced base. Sand the edges for comfort, and paint the seat in cheerful pastel colors like pink, mint, or sky blue. Next, use colorful ropes to suspend the seat from a strong tree branch or a rustic wooden frame. Make sure the knots are tight and evenly balanced, so the swing hangs straight and safe to use. For extra enchantment, weave small flowers or ribbons along the ropes. Hang the swing in a cozy corner of the garden where it can sway gently in the summer breeze. This whimsical piece doesn't just provide a place to sit or play. It transforms the garden into a fairy tale retreat where both children and adults can enjoy magical moments. (14) Twig gate topper wreath with autumn accents. A twig wreath gate topper is a simple way to give your garden entrance a storybook welcome. To create one, gather a bundle of flexible twigs such as willow or hazel. Bend and weave them into a circular shape, securing the ends with natural rope or floral wire. Keep the structure rustic, imperfections make it charming. Once the base is ready, decorate it with seasonal accents. In summer, tuck in roses, daisies, or lavender sprigs for bursts of color and fragrance. For a playful twist, add pastel-painted twigs, ribbons, or even small fairy ornaments to catch the eye. Attach the wreath firmly to the top of your garden gate or archway, making sure it's secure against wind. This simple DIY instantly transforms your entrance into a magical focal point. Every time you or a guest passes through, the wreath sets the mood, inviting, whimsical, and handcrafted with love. It's a quick, creative project that turns ordinary twigs into a symbol of welcome and rustic beauty. (15) Branch-crafted garden edging painted in pastel tones. Garden edging doesn't have to be plain or expensive. Sometimes the most enchanting borders come from the simplest materials. To create this rustic edging, start by gathering branches of similar thickness. Cut them into even lengths and place them upright along your flower bed or pathway. Push each branch a few inches into the soil for stability, arranging them side by side like a natural fence. Now comes the fun part. Bring color into your garden by painting the tops of the branches in pastel tones. Soft pink, lavender, mint green, or sunshine yellow will instantly brighten the border while keeping its rustic charm. You can mix and match colors for a playful look or keep a single shade for a more elegant vibe. As plants grow and spill over the edges, the painted branches peek through, creating a whimsical frame for your garden beds. This DIY is affordable, easy, and endlessly customizable, turning discarded twigs into a creative detail that makes your backyard truly unique. (16) Whimsical dry branch fairy houseplanter with moss roof. Bring a touch of fairytale magic to your garden with a miniature fairy houseplanter made from dry branches. To start, collect sturdy twigs to build the frame. Use 4 as vertical posts and connect them with cross branches to create the walls. Leave a small opening for a whimsical doorway. For the roof, arrange branches in a triangular shape and cover them with fresh moss to give the house a charming, natural look. Inside or on top of the fairy house, place a small container or soil pocket where you can plant succulents, tiny ferns, or colorful flowers. Paint some of the branches in pastel shades like pale pink or mint green to add a playful twist, while leaving others natural for rustic balance. Set the planter on a flower bed, near a pathway, or in a fairy garden corner. Over time, plants will spill out, making the fairy house look alive. This DIY not only upcycles branches but also transforms them into a magical home for plants, sparking imagination in every visitor. (17) Twig pergola tunnel walkway wrapped in ivy. Transform an ordinary garden path into a magical journey with a twig pergola tunnel. To build one, start by driving sturdy branches into the ground in pairs on either side of your walkway. Bend the tops together to form arches, securing them tightly with rope or wire. Continue this along the path until you have a tunnel-like structure. Next, weave thinner branches across the arches to create a rustic lattice. Over time, plant ivy or other climbing vines at the base of each arch and guide them upward. Within a season, the greenery will weave itself around the frame, covering the pergola with leaves and flowers. For added charm, paint sections of the branches in pastel colors or hang small fairy lanterns along the walkway. This tunnel not only adds vertical drama but also creates a shaded passage that feels like stepping into a secret world. It's a DIY project that combines rustic materials with living plants, turning your garden path into a storybook adventure. (18) Branch frame art wall with recycled glass bottles. Give your garden a touch of artistry by creating a branch frame wall decorated with recycled glass bottles. To start, build a sturdy frame using 4 thick branches as the corners, tied together with rope or wire. Add horizontal cross branches inside the frame to create a rustic grid. This simple structure becomes your canvas for creativity. Next, collect colorful glass bottles. Greens, blues, and ambers work beautifully. Secure them with wire or string and hang them at varying heights within the frame. When sunlight passes through, the bottles glow like jewels, casting playful reflections across the garden. For extra magic, tuck small fairy lights inside some bottles to make them sparkle at night. Paint a few branches in pastel tones to add contrast and make the frame look whimsical. Lean the structure against a wall, pergola, or fence, where it becomes a vibrant piece of outdoor art. This DIY not only recycles natural materials and bottles, but also transforms them into a radiant centerpiece that enlivens your backyard. (19) Rustic twig ladder shelf holding small pots. Turn ordinary twigs into a functional and decorative piece by building a rustic ladder shelf for your garden pots. Begin by selecting 2 long, sturdy branches for the sides of the ladder. Place them parallel and secure shorter branches horizontally across to form the rungs, tying each one tightly with rope or wire. This simple frame creates the base of your ladder shelf. For stability, lean the ladder against a fence or pergola wall. On each rung, place small pots filled with herbs, succulents, or colorful flowers. Choose plants with trailing foliage, like ivy or petunias, to cascade gently down the frame, enhancing its rustic charm. To add more whimsy, paint parts of the ladder in pastel shades such as mint green or lavender. This DIY not only provides practical vertical storage for your plants, but also doubles as a unique art piece in your garden. It's a perfect way to upcycle branches into something both useful and beautiful, bringing structure, greenery, and fairytale vibes to your summer backyard. (20) Painted branch candle holders for evening garden glow. Candlelight has a way of transforming a garden into something magical, and painted branch candle holders bring that enchantment in the most rustic way. To create them, gather sturdy dry branches of varying thickness. Cut them into short sections, and carefully hollow or notch the tops just enough to hold a tea light or small lead candle. Once shaped, paint each holder in cheerful pastel colors: lavender, mint, sky blue, or sunshine yellow. The painted accents bring out a whimsical charm while letting the natural texture of the wood remain visible. Arrange the holders along a garden path, patio edge, or around a cozy seating nook. As the evening falls, light the candles and watch as the soft glow flickers through your garden, blending with summer's natural beauty. Not only do these upcycled creations provide atmosphere, but they also double as conversation pieces. With just a few branches and a splash of paint, you can create a magical evening glow that makes your garden feel like a fairy retreat. (21) Branch planter cradles filled with succulents. Imagine your succulents nestled inside rustic cradles made entirely from branches. To create these whimsical planters, start by collecting sturdy twigs and arranging them into small, bowl-like frames. Secure the twigs together with rope or wire until they form a cradle strong enough to hold a small pot or soil pocket. Line the inside with a little moss or coconut fiber to keep the soil in place. Then plant a variety of succulents. Choose shapes and colors that contrast, such as jade, echeveria, or stringer pearls. For a playful twist, paint some of the twigs in pastel shades like mint, lavender, or coral, leaving others natural for a rustic balance. Cluster several cradles at different heights in your garden bed, or place them on a patio table as centerpieces. Their whimsical look and low-maintenance plants make them perfect for sunny summer days. This DIY transforms simple branches into magical displays that blend art, greenery, and upcycling into one enchanting creation. (22) Whimsical fairy lantern poles made of tall branches. Turn tall branches into glowing fairy lantern poles that guide you through the garden like a magical pathway. To start, choose strong, straight branches and secure them upright along the edge of your walkway or flower beds. Make sure each branch is buried deep enough into the soil for stability, or anchor them with stones at the base. Next, hang lanterns or mason jars from the tops of the branches using rope or metal hooks. Place small LED candles or fairy lights inside the jars to create a warm, enchanting glow. For extra whimsy, paint sections of the branches in pastel tones or wrap them with colorful ribbons. As evening approaches, the lights will shimmer gently, creating a fairytale atmosphere perfect for summer nights. These lantern poles not only add charm but also improve safety along pathways. It's a simple DIY that uses natural materials and a touch of creativity to turn your backyard into a glowing wonderland. (23) Twig mushroom sculptures painted in vibrant colors. Bring fairytale magic to your garden by crafting twig mushroom sculptures that look like they popped straight out of a storybook. Start by gathering thick, sturdy twigs for the stems and attaching round wooden discs, coconut shells, or cut branches for the caps. Once the basic shapes are in place, secure everything with nails, screws, or strong glue to keep the mushroom stable. Now, let your creativity shine. Paint the caps in vibrant colors like bright red, cobalt blue, or sunshine yellow, adding whimsical white dots for that classic fairy mushroom look. Paint the stems in natural tones or soft pastels for contrast. Arrange the mushrooms in clusters under trees, beside pathways, or around flower beds. To make them more enchanting, plant moss or small ferns at their base, creating the illusion of a magical fairy forest. These sculptures don't just decorate your garden. They spark imagination and invite wonder, making every corner feel like an enchanted woodland retreat. (24) Rustic dry branch trellis dome for backyard seating. Imagine stepping into your backyard and finding a magical dome woven from branches, creating a sheltered nook for rest and conversation. To build this whimsical trellis, begin by arranging sturdy branches in a circular base. Bend them upward and toward the center, tying them together at the top to form a dome shape. Add cross branches horizontally, weaving them into the frame to strengthen the structure. Paint a few branches in pastel shades, lavender, mint, or coral, for a playful touch while leaving others natural for rustic contrast. At the base, plant fast-growing climbers such as ivy, beans, or morning glories. As they grow, they'll wrap around the dome, turning it into a living green canopy. Inside, place a small bench, hammock, or cushions to create a cozy seating spot. Over time, the dome becomes not only a functional shelter but also a whimsical garden retreat. This DIY combines rustic charm with natural growth, making your backyard feel like a secret hideaway tucked within a fairy tale world. '25. Branch waterfall fountain combined with stone base. There's something magical about the sound of running water, and with branches and stones, you can create your own rustic waterfall fountain. Start by arranging a sturdy stone base in your garden. Build a tiered structure where water can gently cascade from one level to the next. Then, use dry branches to guide the flow. Lash them together into curved channels, securing them over the stones. To enhance durability, treat the branch surfaces that touch water, or line them with hidden tubing. Add a small water pump at the base so the flow continues in a soothing cycle. Paint parts of the branches in pastel tones, or let moss grow naturally along the stones for a more enchanted look. Surround the fountain with ferns, hostas, or seasonal flowers to create a lush backdrop. As the water trickles down, it attracts birds, butterflies, and even dragonflies, turning the space into a lively nature corner. This DIY not only upcycles natural materials but also creates a centerpiece that brings peace, beauty, and rustic magic to your summer garden. '26. Twig-crafted raised garden bed borders. Raised garden beds don't have to be plain boxes. They can be charming features when bordered with woven twigs. To create them, gather flexible branches and cut them to similar lengths. Drive sturdy vertical stakes into the ground along the edges of your bed, spacing them a few inches apart. Then, weave thinner twigs in and out between the stakes, building up the border like a rustic basket. For extra personality, paint sections of the twigs in pastel colors, mint, lavender, or pale yellow. The painted accents will brighten your garden and add a playful touch while keeping the rustic character intact. Fill the bed with rich soil and plant vegetables like tomatoes, beans, or peppers alongside colorful flowers to attract pollinators. These twig-crafted borders not only hold the soil in place but also create visual interest, turning your garden beds into works of art. This DIY blends function and creativity, proving that even the humblest materials can add fairy tale charm to productive spaces. '27. Whimsical branch birdhouses painted with fairy patterns. Give the birds in your garden a fairy tale home with whimsical birdhouses made from dry branches. Start by constructing a small box or cylinder using sturdy twigs tied together with rope or glue. Add a small round entrance hole in the front, and create a slanted roof from overlapping branches to give it a cozy, rustic feel. Once the structure is stable, let your imagination play. Paint the birdhouses in pastel tones and decorate them with fairy patterns, swirls, stars, or tiny flower motifs. You can even add moss or small decorative stones around the base to give each house its own personality. Hang the birdhouses from tree branches, pergola beams, or posts around your yard. Place them where birds feel safe and sheltered, surrounded by flowers and greenery. Soon, you'll notice sparrows, finches, or chickadees visiting these magical little homes. This DIY doesn't just upcycle branches. It brings color, life, and wonder into your backyard while supporting your local wildlife. '28. Dry branch hanging planter mobile with colorful pots. Imagine a garden decoration that dances in the breeze while showing off your favorite plants. A hanging planter mobile made from dry branches is a whimsical way to do just that. Begin by choosing a strong horizontal branch as the base of your mobile. From this base, suspend several smaller branches with sturdy rope or twine, spacing them evenly so they can sway without tangling. Next, attach small colorful pots to the ends of each branch. These can be painted tin cans, clay pots, or recycled containers. Fill them with cheerful flowers, fragrant herbs, or trailing plants that spill gracefully as they grow. For a magical touch, paint the supporting branches in pastel tones, giving the mobile a playful fairy garden feel. Hang the entire mobile from a pergola, porch, or tree branch where it can catch the sunlight and sway in the summer breeze. The movement, colors, and greenery combine into a living artwork, turning simple branches into a magical hanging garden that delights everyone who passes by. '29. Rustic branch sculpture centerpiece in a flower bed. A garden can become an art gallery when you introduce a rustic sculpture made from branches. To create one, gather branches with interesting shapes and textures. Intertwine and lash them together to form a freestanding structure. This could be a spiral, an arch, or even an abstract tower. The key is to let the natural curves of the wood guide the design, celebrating its organic beauty. Once assembled, paint portions of the branches in soft pastel shades such as lavender, mint, or coral. These highlights bring a whimsical contrast to the natural wood. Place the sculpture at the center of a flower bed or lawn, where it becomes the focal point. Surround it with colorful blooms like marigolds, daisies, and roses for a vibrant frame. At sunset, you can even add hidden fairy lights to make the sculpture glow, enhancing its magical presence. This DIY project transforms simple twigs into a statement piece, proving that nature's leftovers can become rustic art that captivates and inspires. '30. Fairy twig pergola over a small seating nook. A small seating nook becomes a fairy tale retreat when framed with a twig pergola. To begin, choose sturdy twigs and branches for the main posts and arch them overhead to form a simple pergola frame. Lash the tops securely with rope or wire. Then weave smaller twigs across the roof to create texture and a natural lattice. For a whimsical touch, paint sections of the branches in pastel hues like sky blue, lavender, or soft yellow. Plant climbing flowers such as morning glories, sweet peas, or roses at the base, and guide them upwards so they spill gracefully across the frame. Over time, the pergola transforms into a living canopy of blossoms and greenery. Beneath the pergola, place a rustic bench or a pair of chairs with cushions, creating a private nook for reading, sipping tea, or simply enjoying the garden's beauty. This DIY blends rustic simplicity with enchantment, turning unused branches into a cozy outdoor hideaway filled with charm and magic. And that's our journey through 25+ dry branch upcycle ideas. Proof that the simplest materials can create the most magical gardens. Which idea inspired you most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't be shy to ask questions. I love seeing your creativity come alive. If this video sparked your imagination, please give it a like and subscribe to Arkan Aesthetic Studio for more rustic, fairy-inspired DIY ideas. Every click, every word you share, helps this little community grow. Until next time, keep creating, keep imagining, and keep turning ordinary into extraordinary.